Algiers, 1956. A city at war. At its heart, a 22-year-old law student walks into the heart of French colonial power. In her basket, hidden among textbooks and a beach towel, is a bomb. Her name is Zohra Drif. She was a revolutionary terrorist to some, and national heroine to others. But who is the woman behind the myth, and how does a bomber become a builder of a nation? Born into a privileged Arab family in 1934, Zohra inhabited a paradox. She was top of her class in a French lycée, immersed in the language and ideals of Libet, Egolite, Fraternite. Yet, outside the school gates, those ideals were a cruel fiction for her people. She witnessed poverty, racism, and the violent suppression of any desire for freedom. For the colonized, life can only materialize from the rotting cadaver of the colonist. The turning point came in 1955. Hearing a radio report of the French guillotining two young Algerian militants, she felt a seismic shift. The intellectual frustration crystallized into a solemn vow to join the armed wing of the FLN, the National Liberation Front. For a young woman in a patriarchal society, this path was unimaginable. Yet, she would not just join, she would choose the most audacious, the most psychologically shocking theater of war, the European city itself. Integrated into the clandestine network of Yacef Saadi, Zohra shed her identity. She became a ghost in the Kasbah. Her mission, to strike fear into the European civilian population to make the occupation untenable. The strategy was brutal, designed to splinter the facade of normalcy. Expert historian of the Algerian War mentioned that the FLN's urban campaign, particularly the use of female bombers, was a masterstroke of asymmetrical warfare. These women, seeming so non-threatening, bypassed all security checks of the time. At 6:30 p.m., she placed the basket next to a young girl sitting with her mother. The explosion killed 3 and maimed dozens, including children. In her later memoir, Drif would express a lifetime of reckoning with the face of that little girl, but in that moment, she was a soldier executing a command for a cause she believed was just. Zohra Drif, we were at war. In a war, there are no innocent parties. The French settlers were the beneficiaries of a colonial system that was itself a form of daily, structural violence. But to see a child suffer, that is a weight you carry forever. Captured in 1957, her trial became a platform. She didn't deny her actions, she justified them, citing the Geneva Conventions and the right to resist occupation. Sentenced to life in prison, she entered a new phase, the political prisoner. Prison became a university. She organized lectures, studied relentlessly, and forged unbreakable bonds with her fellow female militants. This period refined her ideology, transforming the militant into a political strategist. Independent Algeria faced immense challenges. Zohra Drif, now a national symbol, stepped into politics. She married Robert Batat, a fellow revolutionary and future president. She served as a senator for over 2 decades. But how does one build a state after leading a revolution? Expert mentioned political scientist. Her journey mirrors Algeria's, the fiery, unifying struggle for independence, followed by the complex, often contradictory, process of building institutions. She was part of the single-party state, facing criticisms about authoritarianism, even as she advocated for women's rights within the system. Zohra Drif's, the war was clear. The enemy was visible. Building a country is 1,000 times more difficult. There is no simple enemy, only complex problems, poverty, education, competing visions.
In 2013, she published her memoir. It was not just a historical account, but a profound act of testimony. She spoke to the French, to Algerians, to history itself. She defended the necessity of the armed struggle, while acknowledging its terrible human cost. An Algerian young woman inspired by her. A French pied noir who lost family. A historian. A former French soldier. All with different, conflicting perspectives on her legacy. So, who is Zohra Drif? A terrorist? A freedom fighter? A politician? A symbol? She is a living embodiment of the 20th century's most painful contradictions. The morality of violence in the face of oppression, the transition from war to peace, and the enduring struggle for dignity. Her story forces us to ask impossible questions. When is violence justified? What does it cost, not just a nation, but a human soul, to win its freedom? Zohra Drif does not offer easy answers, but what was the final trigger? The moment theory became irrevocable action? For Zohra, it wasn't a personal, familial loss in the traditional sense. It was an intellectual and spiritual rupture. In 1955, while listening to the state radio, she heard a clinical report of the French execution of two young Algerian militants, Aleg and Banama. The broadcast was meant to instill fear. For her, it lit the fuse. She described it not as an emotional breakdown, but as a cold, definitive awakening. The abstract colonial violence became brutally personal. The law student who believed in systems realized the system was engineered for her people's extinction. In that moment, the privileged daughter of Tiaret died, and the soldier of the Kasbah was born. Her loved ones were not individuals in a coffin. They were the entire oppressed Algerian people, and they were being killed every day. Her weapon would not be grief, but a calculated, devastating answer. She is the question, walking. The story of Zohra Drif, like the history she helped shape, is not a monologue, but a conversation. We want to hear your voice in it. In the comments below, we pose one question. In the fight against oppression, where is the line between a freedom fighter and a terrorist? Share your perspective, debate with respect, and let's build a nuanced understanding together. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the figures who force us to question history.